fun attitude. So let's jump right in, guys. I'm going to share my screen. If you don't see it, you can also let me know in the comments, because I can see the comments. And I'm just going to say hello. If you guys can't see my screen, let me know, because that means I'm doing something wrong on my end. But again, welcome to tonight's presentation. All right, so let me actually, yes, there we go. Okay, so obviously this webinar is for Victor sellers to sell more and make more money so they have more time to do what they love most, sourcing. So when I talk about having fun, you know, having fun is obviously making money, but it's also knowing that you can go and do what you love most, which is sourcing. Who here, just let me know in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, send me an email. Who here just loves shopping? You love going out, you love the thrill of the hunt, you love treasure hunting. I know I do. I know that's why I got into this industry. I used to pull up to Salvation Army and spend $200. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, all of the clothes that I would put in my car for $200, it was the best high ever. And I'm seeing you guys comment to me. Thank you so much. I only get DMs. So if you guys are on the chat, you're not seeing everyone else's chat. I guess I have to figure out how to change that setting. But I see Ty say too much. Heather is saying love sourcing for myself in the shop. Yes, sourcing is where it's at. And you want to have, you know, time to do that, right? And you want to have the motivation to do that so that you're actually like, okay, this is something that can work for me. I can go and spend more money sourcing and actually make money. So I want to start off this presentation. It's a little selfish. I say this every single time I do this presentation, but some of you might not even know who I am. And I appreciate you being here tonight or watching the replay, because I promote this everywhere, all over social media. So I want to jump in and just share with you a little bit more about how I started as a vintage reseller. I hope that's okay. Let me know in the comments if that's okay with you. I'm going to fly through it. It's just going to be kind of like a zero to hero story, but I really think it will inspire and motivate you. So if that's okay with you guys, I'm going to jump forward and share my story with you. Okay, this is kind of embarrassing. I always forget that this is the photo. Okay, so this is me. If you guys can see my mouse, this is me. I am 23 years old here. I'm 36 today, and I have this booth, right? So I started out as a vintage reseller at the flea markets, okay? And I say flea markets now today, they're called, you know, indoor markets, artisanal markets, vintage shows, collectives. That's like the new big thing, is to be a part of a collective. But basically in-person selling, but as quote unquote a market. So if you guys have ever shopped a market or sold at a market, I would also love to know in the comments. I think a lot of us, if we have been in the industry 10 plus years, we probably started at a market. Now, if you guys are like me, when you started selling at flea markets, you romanticized it. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna set up all my stuff. People are gonna come through, they're gonna buy it. I'm gonna have all these great customers. I'm gonna make hundreds of dollars every time I set up. I'm being silent for drama because what ended up happening, guys, is when I started selling at flea markets 10 plus years ago, I realized that it was not the easiest. It may actually be the most difficult way to make a living or to make a sustainable, you know, side income as a reseller. And here's a few reasons why, okay? First of all, you don't know who's coming to the market. It can actually be really difficult to figure out a target audience. You would think it would be easier. You would think, oh, well, this sort of person in the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Actually, everyone and their cousin just rolls through the market. And usually at these markets, there's different types of vendors. And so you know, it's not like you're at a vintage only market. That can make it a little bit easier, I will say so. The other thing is that people are constantly trying to negotiate with you. They don't want to pay what you have in the price tag. Obviously there's no fitting rooms. That makes it really difficult. You have the weather, right? So like back in 2008, when I started selling at the markets, I would try to save money on my booths by buying them in advance and locking in my dates. And I would have to decide like 48 hours before if I was going to show up for that market, right? So if it said it was going to rain, you know, sometimes it doesn't actually rain. So I had to make a decision. And sometimes I would be like, all right, fingers crossed it's not going to rain. I show up at the market, it's the crappiest of days, and 3 people come through. And I've spent $100 to do what? Sit for 6 hours and then pack up my tent and get in my car and drive home. So it's a very frustrating experience. I would say that there's a lot more lows than highs. People think that you can make a lot of money at markets. I would argue at the right market, perhaps, but even the amount of time and physical labor that it requires to make that money, it's just really not worth it. So that was the beginning of my vintage resale career. This is actually one of my booths. This was at something called Artists and Fleas, which has grown to become a indoor market where people set up shop permanently. And it's actually like a commission split. So even though things kind of looked good on the outside, right? Like you would look at this booth and be like, oh my God, like that's a legit booth. Like look at all of those beautiful items. Like I had some great stuff, but the challenges continued because as I realized that I wasn't going to make money, right? As a self-employed person trying to sell secondhand, I was like, I have to get smarter. So this is how I got smarter. And it was actually kind of smart. I started hosting at-home vintage shopping parties at friends' New York City apartments. So I actually live in New York City. I've lived in New York City since 2008. And, it just clicked in my head. I'm like, well, I need to meet my target audience, right? Like I need to get in front of them. So I can just ask friends to invite their friends and we have a party and I bring all my clothes to their homes, right? And oh my God, I will say a few of these events did very well. Here are the challenges, however. And again, I'm just being very real with you. First of all, I'm in New York City. It's a little bit different in other cities, but New York City is very hard to find parking. I have a slide somewhere in this presentation where I show you that I had to pay like $150 in parking tickets at one point in 2009 because I was getting parking tickets. I could not figure out how to park for the life of me. Also, when you're selling at a friend's house, especially in New York, it's like you can't like leave your stuff there. Like you have to bring it the night before, maybe if you're lucky, sometimes maybe the day of, and set it up and then have the event. And I remember just being so exhausted. I mean, thank goodness, like I run on caffeine, but I just remember like this photo of me on the left, like I'm exhausted here, like utterly exhausted. And then the other thing is that I still didn't quite know like who was showing up, right? So it's like, yes, you could kind of target your audience, but it was still sort of like, how many plus size are there going to be? How many people like 80s or how many people want this style or that style? Now, you could kind of, survey the RSVP list, but it's a lot to handle. So I brought everything. I'm not going to lie. If you look at this lower right-hand corner, I think I had 2 more racks at this one event. Like I just brought everything and it was insane. So basically the challenges continued where I was just like, well, how do I make this sustainable? This feels so hard. Why is it so hard for me to make money selling vintage fashion? So, here's that slide. Just paid $153 worth of parking tickets. This came up on my Facebook memories and I cracked up because I remember just being like miserable. These parking tickets were eating into my profits basically because, I would park somewhere, I would make maybe $600 and then have to pay a $50 parking ticket. And thank you guys so much for being in the chat. I love seeing you guys chat. Please chat. What ended up happening is I was just getting really frustrated. If you guys have, experienced that, it's totally okay. Let me know in our chat if you've experienced frustration or if you've been discouraged or maybe you've just gone broke. Because again, the other thing about being a vintage reseller, one of the problems, and we'll talk about this later, is that you're kind of sourcing everything. Right? You're not quite sure what's going to sell. So when you start, you're typically sourcing everything. And a lot of people never, ever stop sourcing everything and they become secret hoarders and they go into inventory debt. And what inventory debt is like, you're never making money because you're always buying stuff, right? It's like, you're spending more money than you're making essentially. So being a vintage reseller can make you go broke basically. So again, I'm talking about the dark ages of the internet here, which makes me feel very old, but like legitimately it was the dark ages. I like to tell people I think my first Instagram account was 2012 when it first launched. So eBay and Etsy, yes, they'd been around for a few years, but around 2012 is when I really jumped into those worlds. And this is again before Depop, before Poshmark, before Mercari, before OfferUp, before all these other platforms, which we'll also talk about later on tonight. But here's what I soon discovered, is that these platforms have fees. I wish that there was like a unified fee across all the platforms, but they all have different fees. So Etsy, and these slides were put together, gosh, I think 6 months ago. So the fees could have gone up, like for real. Inflation. I think mortgage rates just went up again today. So the fees probably went up again, but Etsy is about 6.5%. And then a 3% processing fee just for the payment, plus 25 cents, plus 30 cents a listing. So you can't even list on Etsy for free. They actually make you renew your listings too. I think it's like every 30, 60 days, you have to renew your listing. So if you have 100 listings, that's, $30 every month. The customer expects free shipping. So that eats into your profits as well. Poshmark takes 20%. Poshmark's pretty good. They do promote you, all the things, but you got to share out your stuff all the time. It's so time consuming. And then they take 20%. And then people on Poshmark are making offers. So before you know it, you're making $15 profit margin on the item that you've listed, maybe even less. eBay takes up to 15%. The customer also expects free shipping there. Poshmark, they actually do charge shipping. Depop is about 10%. Mercari is about 10%. And Depop and Mercari, they might actually have some more fees that I'm not aware of. So basically, you're looking at about 10% minimum up to 20%. And then, and I forget if this is my next slide. Oh, I don't dive into it quite yet. But before I dive into this, also, if you guys want to really succeed on these platforms, sometimes they charge you, more fees just to be seen. So eBay does this a lot. They'll charge you like $2 just to like have a different headline, or they'll charge you money to be promoted. Etsy takes a bigger cut if your item is found on Google search. They take a bigger cut and you don't even know that's happening. Like you just basically allow Etsy to promote your stuff on Google. And then if someone finds it on Google, then like all of a sudden you've lost 20% and you're like, wait a second. So again, there's just a lot of mystery. You're basically at the mercy of these platforms. So here's a quick example, because I like to give you guys examples. Gunny Sacks, amazing vintage brand. It's a company was owned by Jessica McClintock, which was a big prom company back in the day. So I found this awesome dress. So that's here on the left. And it was sold for $230, which was kind of awesome because I got it for $20, which I was like, boom, awesome. But eBay took $33 right out the gate, 33 freaking dollars. And then I had to offer free shipping because, it's eBay. That's $8. That's priority shipping, pretty basic. Couldn't get it any less than that. $41 in fees. If you use PayPal takes money. I didn't even include that in the slide. I need to edit the slide just to include the PayPal fees. So basically we're talking like $44. Done. Gone from this awesome sale. And so before I move on, what I'd like to point out is that $44 or $41 or even $30 or even $20, it might not seem like a lot in fees. But then you start to think about, am I trying to make a sustainable business? If you're trying to make a sustainable business, losing $20 in fees 20 times per month is $400 lost per month. $400 lost per month is $3,600 lost per year. No, might not even doing that math right. 4 times 12 is $4,800. $4,800 lost per year. It just really adds up, right? Because you are just continually paying off these platforms. So the other thing about some of these platforms that I like to point out that a lot of people don't even realize is that you're competing with fast fashion. So if you type in vintage this, vintage that, or even like a designer name, you'll find like designer knockoffs being sold on these platforms, and then, quote unquote vintage style. So here's a great example where this is a rare original 1970s corduroy flare leg jumpsuit for $225. That's awesome. But then you've got these like handmade boho jumpsuits next to it. You've got this baggy jumpsuit below. That's another vintage garment. But it's very confusing for anyone who's shopping that might reconsider buying the vintage one because they're seeing such a price contrast. And that can really, basically like make who could be your customer go, you know what? No, I'm going to choose this one because it costs less money. And then you miss out on that customer. Same thing over here. I just typed in vintage jumpsuit, and these are clearly just mass made kind of Poochie style spandex jumpsuits next to these actual vintage jumpsuits. So moving on in my story, right? So I'm selling on these platforms. Okay, I'm making some money. I'm losing a lot of money in fees. My profit margins aren't amazing. And I'm like, well, how do I fight this? How do I get more money in my pocket? Oh, the internet. Well, of course, I was already selling on the internet, but it was kind of like, let me start my own brand. Let me start my own website. So I launched sammydvintage.com. This is actually me way back in the day. And I built an online shop, and I built a blog and all the things. But let me tell you, if you are someone who's like, oh, I'll have a website and I'll have this and I'll have that. I mean, Rome was not built in a day. So the challenges continue, right? Like all of a sudden you're trying to figure out how to build a website or how to pay someone to build a website for you, which is very expensive. And then you're trying to drive customers to your website, which really works two ways, maybe three. The first, personal contacts, people who know you. They might go to your website and buy from you. Two, SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. That is an uphill climb. And that is something that most of us as vintage sellers, as creatives, we're not in the market to learn that. We don't even have time to do it. And then three, social media. So if you can build a social media following and drive people to your website, cool, that's great. But basically, two out of those three ways are very difficult. And the first is basically friends and family. And we all know that our friends and family only buy from us so much. So basically, like in conclusion, me and Snoopy here, we found it wasn't really any easier to make regular income online than it was selling in person. Both had their pros and cons. Both were just challenging. And it just didn't feel like, back then, it just did not feel like this could be a sustainable thing. It just continually felt like, oh my gosh, I'm spending time on a hobby. And when am I going to figure out the formula that's going to help me sell more vintage, that's going to actually put money in my pocket so I can, pay my rent, pay my utilities, buy some food. And that was the question that I asked myself. And that might be the question that you guys are still asking yourselves right now, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. So thank you guys for listening to my story, because that's how I transitioned to what I'm going to share with you guys tonight, is that I've been there, right? I've been there. I quit, a pretty high profile publishing job to be a vintage reseller. And I was determined, but I was over it. I was just over it. I was over the frustrations, over the parking tickets, over the fees, over all the work I had to do just to sell something. I needed a solution. Okay. So that's my story. Again, that does not have to be yours. I would love to hear from you guys in the chat if any of that related to you. And I'm actually looking at some of the messages right now. Okay, Ty said, yes, I took a sourcing break because I'm not selling as much as I need to profit for real. Yes. And Lisa mentioned, I had no idea about those Etsy fees for Google searches. Yeah, I don't know exactly what they are, but basically, like, when you type in like vintage 1920s cocktail dress, and they come up on the right-hand side, or I think it's with Google Shopping. It's with Google Shopping. If you click through and purchase, there's another fee. So Heather says, yes, I'm in the same boat. I'm tired of Etsy and eBay, of fees, etc. Yeah, so fees. So I want to share with you guys the way that I found. And this way was basically a combination of time and the internet. And I would also argue more and more people wanting to shop vintage online. But it is a shortcut. It is a secret sauce. It is a solution. I have seen it work for so many people, whether they want to make another $300 a month or whether they want to make $3,000 additional income per month. And the goal and what this way does is it reaches your ideal customer base. Okay, so back to the flea market example, like it was kind of my customer base, but only maybe like 40% of the time. And the other 60% of the time, they were just random people. You want to reach 100% of your ideal customer base to just cut out the fat, to just stop wasting time. And you want to be able to sell consistently. So consistently looks like, I mean, it's different every person, but it could be 1 item a day, could be 5 items a week, could be 3 items a week. It could be 150 items a month. And you don't want to have to stress. Stress exists, but less stress and no ridiculous fees. No, oh my gosh, I just paid Poshmark $1,000 to sell $5,000, because for every $5,000 you sell on Poshmark, you're paying them $1,000, because $1,000 is 20%. So that puts it into perspective, right? So moving on. At this point, we're about 15 minutes into the presentation, and I'd like to just give you guys a heads up that if you stay until the very end, I'm giving you guys a freebie, and this is only for the people that are tuning in. I give out a free vintage brands to look for sourcing guide. It's pretty awesome, especially if you're kind of like a vintage newbie with some of the older labels. So it's going to help you to identify by tags, the value, and just to learn in general more about vintage fashion history. So stay until the end. I'll give you a link, and you can go to that link and you can download the guide automatically. So that's my thanks to you for just staying until the end, because I don't want to lose you guys. Okay, so what we're about to just go over, just to remind you, this is all my marketing, but just to remind you, secret number 1, the secret sauce to attracting consistent sales. Secret number 2, how to go to the right party. What is the right party? Do you guys like to go to parties? I don't always like to go to parties, but I want to go to the right party. And then secret number 3, how to be in the know and only buy the good stuff. And this is back to my conversation about inventory debt. How do you avoid inventory debt so that you're not overbuying things that you can't sell, or you end up selling far less than what you bought them for, and you're only buying the stuff that you know people are going to buy from you at a profit. Ding, 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 winning formula. So, okay, here we go. Here's Tom Cruise, show me the money. One of the most classic lines of his career, show me the money. Let's talk about the secret sauce to attracting consistent sales. So what would it feel like for you guys to hear the cha-ching of a cash register from your phone each and every day? Now, I say cha-ching, that's actually, I think, what Etsy does. It goes cha-ching, but metaphorically speaking, how would that feel? I know it feels amazing for me. It feels, first of all, it just feels amazing to see money in my inbox. Like, that's just something I love seeing money in my inbox. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about right now, social selling. This is a phrase that I actually coined myself. I'm sure there's some social media expert out there that has like a better explanation of it, but I'm just Sammy Davis, and I'm going to explain to you guys social selling. But obviously social means like, you know, we're in communication. We're in community. We're rubbing elbows with people, right? We're not isolated behind, well, we could be isolated behind a computer screen just with ourselves, but the social selling is a digital thing. So we are in a digital way being social, and in a digital way we are selling. So social selling really started to grow with the advent of Facebook Marketplace. Let me know in the chat if you guys have ever used Facebook Marketplace. You can go on Facebook Marketplace and you can find just about anything, and you can sell just about anything. It's really interesting if you haven't used it, because you can ship, but a lot of people meet in person because it's a very hyper local marketplace. And it's become a social selling platform because the way that Facebook is set up is that you have profiles and you have a messenger system. So you can actually, quote unquote, interact with the seller through Facebook Marketplace. Now, being social online doesn't stop with Facebook. There's also TikTok, there's also Instagram. Snapchat used to be very popular way back in like 2015, but TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, those are the main social selling platforms that we are seeing work for resellers today. And what I discovered on my journey is that the key to consistent sales and to building a clientele of customers who know, like, and trust me is to dive into social selling platforms and begin to build a resale business there. So I kind of already jumped forward a little bit. I always do this in the presentations because I forget what slide aligns with what I'm about to say. But this is an aggressive image, okay? But imagine that you've got people in a social space online, literally fighting over the things that you're selling. And I say fighting, right? Fighting's, kind of intense, but like there's multiple people that want your things. And if they could ask someone else to give it to them, they would. So social selling allows you to get in front of multiple people who want what you have, who know you because of the social platform, because of how that social platform has been created for you to put yourself out there as a brand. And because you're putting out, let's say an iPhone in front of multiple people, these multiple people may all want your iPhone. So you are creating a buzz around you. You are creating a buzz around what you're offering. And you're able to also know what your target customer in that social space is actually looking for, which we're going to get into a little bit more in depth later on tonight. But I want you guys to imagine, like, this is the part of the presentation where it's very motivational and inspirational, because we get so stuck thinking, well, this is just the way it is. Like, I can't do any better. And I was totally there at some point, as I share with you on my journey. I want you guys to imagine attracting your ideal customer. So this ideal customer, if we're talking about vintage in particular, or if we're talking about luxury, or if we're talking about, lipsticks, right? Like selling lipsticks, they want what you have. They get what you have. They don't have to be educated about what you have, right? They know the difference between vintage style and authentic vintage. They know the value. They understand that a 1970s red corduroy jumpsuit, yeah, if it's freaking awesome, it should be $225, not $50. So just imagine attracting the ideal customer and knowing where to find them. That's the power of social selling. Again, back to that fighting image, right, of those two women fighting. Imagine how it would feel to get top prices for your garments because customers are hungry for what you have. Imagine seeing people in a social space, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, say, wait, sell it to me. Sell it to me, sell it to me. I mean, that just is that not the most satisfying thing ever? I still smile seeing this image, and I actually did end up selling her something. So it worked. Okay, back to my point. Imagine understanding your market and knowing what to source for them. So these are some examples of some ISO posts. ISO stands for in search of. And these ISO posts, they are posts that people make in these social spaces actually asking for specific items. And you as the seller can go, oh, I have that. Oh, let me connect with you in this social space and talk to you about what it is that you're looking for, because I have it. You're not shooting in the dark. Your customer is actually coming to you in the social space. And then imagine customers telling you what they want you to source for them, and then they buy it from you. Okay, so Poshmark, eBay, Depop, Mercari, flea markets, in-person events. Okay, there's a little bit of, hey guys, I'm your shopkeeper. What do you guys want me to buy from you? But there's nothing more powerful than a social selling space where you go, hey guys, it's officially spring shopping season. What are you guys looking for? Let me know, because then I can go buy it. Then I can go and I can source smarter. I don't have to source harder. I'm going to source smarter. I know that you're looking for, flowy jumpsuits and dresses. I know that you're looking for this specific designer. I know that you're looking for a sequin jumpsuit. It's unbelievable. You get the information that you've always been guessing, right? When you list on these platforms, the trends are the trends, but you're basically guessing what people are going to want from you. And then I think I have two more slides here. I always say that this is the last one, but imagine building personal relationships with customers confidently who buy from you again and again and again and again. One of the number one issues too with being a reseller on some of the platforms, flea markets, etc., is that you really for the most part, maybe there's 5 to 10% who buy from you again, but for the most part, you're constantly getting new customers. So you're not able to nurture a relationship with them where they're going to buy more than one item from you, or they're just going to know, like, and trust you and want to buy from you, because there's so many barriers on these platforms. Again, it's like the social selling spaces where people get to know you. But on Poshmark, like, you can't even message the seller. You can only message the seller once the item has been sold. All you can do is comment below the image. And it's just not a very conducive place to chat because your business is in front of everyone else. You really can't have a communication pattern with the seller where it feels personal. Okay, yes. And then imagine never feeling pressured to pay for promotion or sharing listings. Okay, back to Poshmark, you have to share your listings. Back to eBay, there's a little bit of pressure to, pay to promote. We haven't gotten into this quite yet, but on certain platforms, there's a style of photography. So you have to guess, okay, what style of photography is going to get me seen? What type of model do I need to use? Or do I need to use a mannequin? Or do I need to do this? It's just like your mind is spinning when all you want to do is sell some dang vintage. Like, you don't want to have to become like the best photographer on the planet. Like, I don't have time for that. So imagine just letting go of that pressure, and imagine the freedom of spending less time just overall creating listings and lifestyle photos. So I already hit on that point, so I'm going to move ahead. So I've gone over a lot of information. I've gone over a lot of more just like inspiration to try to get you guys into this headspace of what social selling means. But here's like just a quick checklist, and it is so basic, and people complicate it because we tend to complicate the most basic of things, myself included sometimes. Step one, you want to find a social selling space you like. So go on Facebook, go to Facebook groups, type in luxury for less, type in luxury bags for sale, type in vintage clothing, type in vintage buy sell, type in sportswear for sale, t-shirts for sale, and find buy sell groups on Facebook. Some of them are pay to play. Most of them are free. Some are better than others, I'm not gonna lie. But over time and with some research, you can find a few social selling spaces that you like. And you can begin taking advantage of the selling opportunities in these spaces and start to build a customer list, start to build a reputation, and begin selling items commission-free. So step two, I already kind of said this, enter this community of people, figure out what they're looking to buy by forming relationships and asking questions. So you can't just show up like a fly on the wall. You do have to participate. But the beauty of social selling in a digital way is that you can just do it. I actually caught myself saying this earlier in the presentation, but you can be isolated behind a laptop all day being social. You don't have to be out in the world. You don't have to put your makeup on or like look pretty. Like, you can make friends in a social selling space without actually having to leave the comfort of your home. Now, as you begin to understand what this customer base, what this community is looking for, you can go source and you can list quickly. The reason you can list quickly is because, again, you don't have pressure to take these beautiful photos. You don't have to do all the things that some of these listings require you to do, which is like sharing the listings, promoting the listings, putting all the SEO terms. Like, you're basically just like, oh, here's some photos, here's a description, boom. You're going to connect with customers and you're going to sell quickly. If it's an item that they want, you're going to sell it quickly and you're going to start to build your customer base. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. The people that do this as consistently as possible, and I'm talking like 1 to 5 times a day, make the most money. Everything in life is consistency and keep it simple. And social selling is a great example of that. Now, I just mentioned Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok have similar spaces. We're going to dive into those. Secret number 2, which is find the right party, because those spaces are more about finding the right party and not so much about listing items for sale. But I just want to give you guys that encouragement. Literally after this presentation, go on Facebook and start to find yourself some buy sell groups. Really quickly, just for some more inspiration, this is one of my most fun sales in a buy sell group. I found a 1960s leopard print swing coat, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like in the next slide. I posted it at 3:24. Do you guys see this? March 11th, 3:24. I had a message at 3:33. That is, I can't even believe that it took, I can't do the math. Wait, it took 9 minutes for that customer to message me, and she ended up buying it, guys. I got it for $60. Here it is. There I am standing in front of the lingerie section. How perfect. $60. I sold it for $189. So I did charge free shipping. I basically just include it in my cost. So my profits were 119. I actually had it in my possession for 10 days. I should have put it up right away, but I was traveling. It took, well, I put 8 minutes. It took 9 minutes to sell, and the time it took to list was 5 minutes. For $119 profit, that is pure vintage resale win. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. If I had listed this on eBay, we're talking 119 minus probably 20%, maybe 17%. So that's about another $20 off the top. Boom, gone, cutting into my profits, making me very sad. Okay, so let's talk about the right selling party. And I'm going to check our comments. Oh, I love that you guys are chatting. Thank you so much for chatting. I love it, because it keeps me like engaged knowing that you guys are here. Okay, so the right selling party. Yes, these are the best shoes I've ever seen in my entire life. I need to find a pair of these, these sequin stilettos. So let's talk about just going to a party in general. Okay, so sometimes we're invited to parties and we think to ourselves, is that like the right party for me? Like, are there gonna be people that like are kind of like relatable? Or is this going to be something just like a bunch of people that are like into this and I'm not into it, and I kind of feel awkward and I'm just like along for the ride? In high school, it was kind of like, are they like going to include me? You know, are they the popular kids and I'm not the popular kid? I mean, even as adults, it can just kind of be awkward to show up to the wrong party. And I feel like vintage sellers and just resellers in general, we are constantly trying to sell at the wrong party. I've seen some vintage sellers, you know, like set up booths at events that they have no business setting up booths at. And I'm like, oh, bless your heart. But like, it's good for practice, but you're not reaching your target audience. You're not going to the right party. So you want to, this is the solution I found. This is the most ideal situation. You want to create the Vintage Expo from the comfort of your own home. So what's a Vintage Expo or a shopping expo? It is an event that targets an audience, and this audience comes through to this event and they buy, and you set up a booth, right? So it's not a flea market. It's not like a crafts fair. It is a expo with all the people being in your niche, and it is targeted to your audience. But you have to show up. You got to pack up. You have to pay a hefty fee. Typically, some of these expos are like $1,200 for the weekend. And you have to buy a hotel room sometimes, the driving, the parking, all of the things. But those vintage expos can be lucrative, but you want to create that lucrative experience from the comfort of your own home. So you don't have to spend all those expenses. You don't have to drive. You don't have to go somewhere new. So this is how you guys are going to do it. You're going to host a live sale. So if you're watching live or watching the replay, you may or may not have engaged in some sort of secondhand live sale. These live sales are growing by the minute. 3 days ago, there was something called eBay Open. And I think earlier this summer, Poshmark has something called Poshmark Fest. And they launched live sales on their platforms. Yes, now you can shop live from Poshmark sellers, and you can shop live from eBay sellers. Now, they haven't, to my knowledge, and I should have fact-checked this before the presentation, but I've been busy. They haven't rolled it out quite yet. They just announced it. But let me tell you about live selling. Live selling has been happening for at least 3 years. At least 3 years. Because of Instagram Live, because of TikTok Live, and because of Facebook Live. So vintage sellers who wanted to bring the Vintage Expo to their home started hosting live sales. And they started hosting live sales to their following. Hosting live sales to your following can be, first of all, it can work. But second of all, if you don't have a following or you're finding it difficult to cultivate a following, it can feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm talking to no one. So the key is to find platforms, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, that allow you to reach their following. So you reach their following, you become a name, you become a brand within that following. And you know that each and every time you sign up to host a live sale, you sign up to host a Vintage Expo party from the comfort of your home, you're going to reach your target audience. So these are 3 quick slides, 3 quick examples of vintage sellers hosting the quote unquote Vintage Expo from the comfort of their own homes. And they are reaching their target audience on a platform that they don't own, but they get to almost like rent space and experience that target audience without having to put in the work to actually build that target audience. And I'm going to come back to this because I don't think I focused on it enough. Live sales are growing, as I said. So Poshmark and eBay are now allowing some of their, or will be allowing some of their sellers to start selling live. Facebook has platforms for you to join to host a live sale. Instagram has platforms for you to join and to host a live sale. All of these platforms, as well as TikTok, all of these platforms offer different live sale platforms that reach a different kind of audience. So when I talk about vintage resale, I'm talking about things that are 20 years or older, typically 1920s to 1990s. The O's are very popular now too. Anything before the 1920s is antique, also very hard to find. But within the vintage world, there are niches. It's crazy, right? There's a niche that's like 80s and 90s and granny dresses that are reinvented into different styles. There's a niche that's all about the 70s. There's niches that are all about the 40s and all about this World War II Americana vibe. There's luxury vintage designer niches. So when you guys begin to do research around these platforms, it's really important that you figure out, okay, is this the niche within the vintage niche? Is this the niche within the secondhand niche that's right for me? So I do want to drive that point home. The way that you can begin to find some of these live sale platforms is, again, to join those buy sell groups on Facebook, because you're going to start to come across some live sale platforms naturally. I'm also going to share with you a few that you can join tonight. And then also on Instagram, look up the hashtag live sales, hashtag IG live sales, hashtag vintage live sales, hashtag designer live sales. Whatever your niche is, start to explore those hashtags so you can figure out what world works for you. And I should really make a whole slide about that. I'm just sort of building a little bit now, like naturally, because I'm so excited. Okay, so let's talk about sourcing only the good stuff. This is my heart-faced emoji or heart eye emoji. Okay, so I've said it like 3 times already, but inventory debt will ruin you. It will ruin you. It will ruin your credit card. It will ruin the space in your home. It will ruin your relationships. My goodness, it's an exaggeration, but inventory debt can bring bugs into your house. Like, if you've got too much stuff, you're not washing it. You're not taking care of it, and been there, done that personally. And when I talk to people about resale, the thing that I always encourage them to do is to start with what they have. I always encourage them to start with what's in their closet. Start with what you're willing to part with, so that whatever you sell is quote unquote pure profit, because you haven't created inventory debt yet. But you want to learn how to source only the good stuff for the target audience that you are selling to for that moment in time. Trends come and go, current style, trends of the runway, trends of designer labels, trends of styles, trends of colors, trends of cuts. There's weird micro trends that emerge. There was a huge micro trend recently, and I think it's still trending ever so slightly, but vintage towel dresses were just selling. Vintage towel dresses, those terry cloth dresses, boom, flying off the shelves. And you have to understand what those trends are within the community that you are sourcing for, so that then you go, okay, I'm only going to source what I know is going to sell in this community. And I know that I have a higher statistical chance of spending $100 at the thrift store, depending on the prices that I pay per item, and depending on what I want for resale value or what that community can get for resale value. I know, okay, there's a pretty solid chance that at least $90, maybe $85 of that $100 can be tripled, right? You don't want it to be, I've spent $100 at the thrift store and I only sold $20 of it. Because tripling $20 is $60. So you've still lost money. All right, moving on. I'm doing a lot of improv tonight, which is really cool because I've led this presentation so many times that now I'm just kind of off the cuff. So this is just a really quick example of a Facebook community that I run. It's called Vintage Boss Babes. And I posted this jumpsuit. It's an incredible jumpsuit. I didn't realize what people would be saying. I mean, people are commenting that they asked first to buy it. She wanted to buy it. He said, don't ever sell it. People are telling me, not to sell it, but basically because they love it. They love the style. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a style. This is a certain type of jumpsuit that I can go find more of. I had no idea. I had no idea that people would like this kind of crazy 80s silhouette with the cutouts on the top, the large shoulder pads, kind of a harem pant. So I learned from that post because I'm discovering what my market wants to buy. And if I'm really smart, I'm going to go either look for more jumpsuits like that, or I'm going to sell that one straight off my back. When you know what the market wants to buy, you wake up to solds. Now, this is all using Facebook, but let's imagine a live sale. When you know what the market wants to buy, when you know what the people showing up to your live sale wants to buy, the things that you're showing will sell. The things that you're showing will appeal to your following. They will appeal to your following because you're able to better predict what it is that they want to buy from you. You're also better able to predict sizes because you get to know your regular customers, and you're better able to predict pricing. Pricing is a big one. Something can be $20 somewhere and $200 somewhere else. But as you build your brand and as you find the right niches for you, your prices begin to reflect how you have been active in the community. People who are more active with live sales, people that are more active with posting, in these buy-sell communities, the more active they are, the more money they get for their items because they're building a brand. Okay, I'm just going to scroll through all of these sold images. I put a lot here just to drive my point home. Okay, so this image is like a castle somewhere. And I just want to share a story with you because if you're tuning in live right now and you've never done resale, like you've never quote unquote done resale, I want you to first know you can start from what feels like nothing and you can build an empire. You can absolutely build an empire. And what this whole presentation was about is that when you begin to build within social selling spaces, keyword, social selling spaces, you know what to source, you know what your clientele wants, you build a clientele list, you get repeat customers. These repeat customers know, like, and trust you and come to you as the source, choose you as the source of what they want. Sometimes they reach out to you looking to buy direct from you just because they want to buy from you. You avoid commission fees. You're better able to price your items. You're better able to work out deals with your customers. And all of a sudden, you just become really busy. You just become a very busy, successful reseller. So there's a member of my community. She started in Vintage Boss Babes in 2019. And my community is a vintage clothing community. It's a buy-sell marketplace. It's daily selling and live selling. And I guess she'd been following me for like a year or something. And she's a teacher's aide. And she's like, I've been going to flea markets my whole life. She might have been like 41 at this point, 42. I've been going to flea markets my whole life, yard sales, estate sales. And I just have all this stuff. And I want to be a reseller, but I'm so scared. And I was like, okay, girl, I got you. Like, you can start in this. Back then, it was a teeny tiny community. You can start in this community, and there's no pressure, and your photos don't have to be perfect, and you get to communicate with your customers so that you can work out problems. You can make friends with your customers. It's just a lot easier, right? She started making hundreds of dollars a month. She showed up. She learned shipping. She learned how to post on the regular. She was able to actually sell things at a pretty affordable price because she'd just been accumulating them. And over time, she's been able to do things like, she's told me she's bought her daughter's wedding dress. She replaced her front, I think it was her front porch or her deck. She got a new AC unit for her house. She told me once. She's like had savings for the first time ever in her life, and she's in her 40s. So you can only imagine how life-changing this business was for her. And I know today she's flying. She's like an eagle flying in the sky. I can't even keep up with her. But I just remember her coming to me and being like, I want to do this so badly, but I'm so nervous. So if that's what you're feeling right now, I just want you to know that social selling is the best place for you to get started. It's the best place for you to get started because you're not alone. It's social. You're not posting into the abyss, afraid you're going to make a mistake, afraid you're going to get a bad review that actually isn't accurate. That's going to like ruin your reputation. You're just being who you are and sharing the stuff that you love, that you want to sell, and forming relationships. I mean, that's as simple as it comes. So, okay. At this point, my goodness, we have about 15 more minutes. Thank you guys for being on and just receiving all that information. Let me know in the chat if your minds are like, oh my God, I'm buzzing. I am buzzing with information right now because I'm a fast talking Yankee. So I moved through this really quickly, but we didn't really have time to cover everything I wanted to share with you. If I had it my way, I would do like a 4-hour session and you guys would just, again, your minds would be filled with information. So I want to ask you guys a really quick question. Can I show you, this is a really important question. Can I show you how to get started with social selling today? And if you're still watching live, let me know in the chat with just okay. Because I want to share with you, I don't want you guys to get off this webinar, whether you're watching live or watching the replay and be like, okay, cool, that was great. I want to show you how to get started today. I have a very special offer for you, It's pretty awesome. So I want to make sure that you guys stand by it. I'm seeing a lot of comments. Yay. Yeah, Heather, you know what? Because it's only, for some reason, they're only coming to me as a DM. Yeah, the messages are only going to me. I know. I'm going to have to change Zoom. There's something about Zoom. Again, another reason I love social selling is I don't have to be perfect with technology. Technology confuses me sometimes. So, okay. I think you guys all said okay, which makes me really happy. Thank you so much. And thank you guys again for listening. I love giving this presentation because just, seeing the success stories that I've seen. Oh my gosh, Lisa said, ready to build an empire. Yes. Seeing the success stories I've seen. I mean, I just had one woman message me today and I need to use slides to put some new testimonials, but long story short, she messaged me and she said, one of your live sales paid my mortgage times 2.5. And I was like, I never looked at it like that. Like, yeah, if you sell $3,500 in a live sale and your mortgage is $1,200 or $1,400, I'm trying to do the math really quick. That's your mortgage times 2.5. So again, as creative people, we don't always think about the math. And I hope that this gave you some insights into the math so that you can see the advantages of social selling. So I created a community back in 2019. I actually started social selling more so 2017 because of the Facebook marketplace advent. but I realized, oh, I can create one my own. And I created one in 2019. And we actually now have 4,300 members. This says 3.8 thousand. And this is your target audience. If you guys are vintage resellers or luxury designer for less resellers or vintage designer resellers, this is the community for you, because these are the most fashion forward, vintage loving, high style people you could possibly interact with, the most you could possibly interact with in one place. Oh, and I have someone else entering the presentation. Awesome. Lisa, I see we have another Lisa in here. We are about to wrap up, but you will get the replay because we only have about 15 more minutes. So I just want to say that to you personally. Okay, so this is a beautiful slide. I love this slide because I also want to drive the point home that social selling, and especially Vintage Boss Babes, it's for all humans. It's for all men, women, they, their, whatever, gender association you connect with. It's for any age, right? Because sometimes you think to yourself, oh, I'm 36, for example. I'm like, I can't hang out with the 22-year-olds, So no ageism here, right? You are welcome. And it's all because, and it doesn't matter where you live. Like, I live in New York, but if you're in London and you want to ship internationally, you can join this community. So this is a community for just people who love vintage, for people who love fashion. And there's nowhere else like this in person that I can think of, because you actually get to go into a group, into a platform of over 4,000 people who are going to have similar interests as you, as a vintage seller and as a vintage buyer. So I'm about to make a special offer to you guys. This is why I wanted you guys to hold on tight, as well as you guys can get that free vintage label guide that I give out. I'm going to give you guys a special offer to join Vintage Boss Babes today. And if you join, you're going to get a vintage seller starter pack that I created especially for you. So I already have the Join Vintage Boss Babes URL down here. But if you guys aren't sold yet, stand by, because I'm going to explain to you all the benefits of joining Vintage Boss Babes today. So basically, you're going to get in front of 4,000 people daily. You can post items for sale in the community, unlimited amounts. You get in front of 4,000 people daily. I want to go back to the eBay, the Mercari, the Poshmark. You don't know how many people even see your listings. That's the other thing I dislike about those platforms, but I can understand why they're doing it, is that you never see views. So you could post something and no one ever sees it because your search terms are off. But in Vintage Boss Babes, you're going to more likely get in front of more people because of the way that Facebook works. You can host a live sale and reach people like you're at a virtual convention. Let's say you live somewhere like Idaho. I don't know any vintage conventions in Idaho. LA, yes, there are some. San Francisco, Houston, Austin, Miami, New York, the big cities. But if you're not in a big city, you can't. It costs a lot of money to go to a vintage expo. But here you can just join from the comfort of your own home. You can bring the vintage expo. You can go to the vintage expo virtually. And again, I already said this, but you can post as many items for sale as you want. No issues here. The people that are members of my community who post daily, they make, some of them I'm guesstimating about $1,200 extra a month just posting daily in the community. We have sold up to $4,000 in a live sale. That's about the record. So again, when you think about, well, I could be doing this and this and this and this, or I could be doing this in social selling, the time for the profits is much higher with social selling. So again, I want you guys to put on your imagination caps. I want you to imagine that you can experience regular sales from customers who know and love you. Again, something I hear from people time and time again is, oh my God, I'm not social. It's just Facebook. It's, all you have to do is, just be friendly. And people that actually have a hard time being friendly at a brick and mortar or at a flea market do really well on Facebook, because a brick and mortar and a flea market or some sort of in-person experience is you got to stay hydrated. You got to eat. You get hangry and you're like, oh, I just don't want to talk to someone. I don't want to talk to any other people. With social selling, you control all of that on your own terms. So basically, guys, join vintagebossbabes.com. As soon as you sign up, you can begin posting vintage items for sale in the community unlimited. I suggest, as the founder, that you do this daily to learn from activity and connections. The reason I want you guys to do it daily is because you're going to see really quickly what sells, what people react to, and you're going to get to know people, and you're going to put yourself out there in front of people. So you're also going to have exclusive access to hosting a live 30-minute vintage clothing and accessories sale. So in Vintage Boss Babes, we do something called pop-ups, and these pop-up live sales are an incredible opportunity for you to go live to our community for a very nominal fee. It's only $35 to get started. So you guys are going to have exclusive access to booking one of those if you sign up tonight. Oops, sorry. So are you guys ready to experience these results from your live sales? Okay, we got $1,200 in sales. We got $1,500 in sales, $750, $800 in sales, $1,150 in sales. Here are some customer, customer appreciation of the seller posts. Are you ready to connect with customers who love buying from you? Like when you genuinely get to form relationships with people who are like, oh my gosh, I bought this from you and I love it. And like, here it is. Like, it feels so good. It's like a butterflies and rainbow selling experience, but it's real. It's real. These people that buy from you, they love buying from you and they want to celebrate you in this Facebook community. Are you ready to save time and make more money on your vintage items? Okay. So when you sell to a vintage community who know, like, and understand vintage, it's more likely that you're going to sell those items for more top dollar. This is anything in life. If I sell lipstick to a community that understands lipstick, they're going to probably buy it for more than if I sold it to a Facebook group that buys car parts, right? It's just not going to work. Let's recap, okay? So, and there's more, because I haven't even told you guys about the Vintage Seller Starter Pack. I get so excited about that. If you join vintagebossbabes.com, and I suggest that you guys go to this website right now and you check it out. Oh, and you know what? I might not have turned it on. Oopsie, I might not have turned it on, guys. That is something I forgot. Go to the website right now, but I'm going to send you guys the link if you're watching live so that you can join tonight. But I think I actually didn't turn it on. Yes, I just remembered. I'm so sorry, but that's good. You guys can check out the website and then I will let you guys know when it's been turned on so that you can join. But you can list as many items as you want as soon as you join in the community. You can list up to 5 items per post at one time. You can't do that on eBay. You can't do that on Poshmark. You can't do that on Mercari. You can literally, in Vintage Boss Babes, go, hey guys, I've got 5 purses. They're all 1980s. Each one is $25. Message me if you want them all. Message me if you want one. Message me if you want 3. Okay, it cuts down on time. So that's something that I need to drive that point home a little bit more. But like posting individual posts can take a lot of time, right? When you can post up to 5 items per post, you make more money in less time. You're never going to pay a single commission fee. I don't take any commission. I will never take any commission. The only thing you pay to post daily in the community is the monthly registered seller fee. This means that all money goes back into your pockets. Now, I do like to give a disclaimer. I always suggest using PayPal. PayPal will eventually figure out you're a seller and take some money from you, but you can obviously use Cash App, Venmo, other methods. Zelle is also very great so that you can avoid the processing fees, which is awesome. You can't do that on the platforms. You just can't. All right, so you're going to understand what the market wants to buy so that you can go source it and quickly make a sale. You're going to connect with hungry, vintage-loving customers and maintain contact with these customers for future sales. Again, you maintain contact. They get to know you. They friend you on Facebook or they friend you on social media. They get to know your kids. They get to know what other hobbies you have. They get to know where you live. They form a personal relationship with you and they trust you and they want to buy from you again and again and again. You're going to be able to stop Oh, that's right. I don't actually list it. You're going to be able to stop paying commission fees, wasting time, getting parking tickets like me, not knowing where your target audience is, sourcing things that don't sell and going into inventory debt, feeling like you're a semi-hoarder because you're going into inventory debt, noticing that you're paying more than what you're actually making, and basically just being frustrated, discouraged, and broke. And you're going to be able to start putting more money back in your pocket, getting the full price for your pieces for sale, forming relationships, forming a customer list, branding yourself, creating a brand that's beyond a platform, a brand that you can take anywhere because that customer base is going to follow you in the social spaces. You're going to begin to understand what to buy to sell quickly, what to source to sell quickly, how to price, because you're noticing what moves, what items other sellers sell things for, and you're going to be able to grow as a brand and increase your prices over time because of your reputation. Wouldn't it be worth it? I'm definitely at 4,000 plus for that sale, which ... I just can't with the gratitude. This was one of our top sellers recently. Wouldn't it be worth it to take a chance at something new, to go to joinvintagebossbabes.com and just join us and see what happens from there. I know when I started this buy sell Facebook marketplace, and I'm just like reflecting back in time, I had no idea it would be where it is today. But that's because it generally filled a need. It filled a need. People needed to get off the platforms and start making more money. We all need to make more money. We all need to sell more vintage. And this is as mom and pa's it gets, because we're all small businesses. And $4,000 plus for one sale, it's not a corporation, but that's life-changing money for a lot of people. So I'm going to really quickly go through all of the other bonuses that you guys are going to get. I mean, I don't even think I need to go over them because I think just joining Vintage Boss Babes is the most exciting thing ever. But I do give you guys a bunch of bonuses. And that's because I want you guys to know that there's some awesome value with joining in the next 72 hours. So again, once I turn on joinvintagebossbabes.com, there's going to be a little countdown that's going to say that you guys can get this offer for the next 72 hours. So first of all, the Vintage Seller Starter Pack, you're going to get shipping for resellers. A lot of people don't know how to ship as a reseller. This is your tell-all guide to understanding how to start shipping as a reseller. You're also going to receive a checklist of information and tips on how to promote your live sale. This could be a battle for some people because, they're not used to self-promotion, but just know that this is a community that is designed to help you to succeed. And this is one of the ways that we provide information to you so that you know how to promote your live sale and build a brand. Okay, so we're just gonna start from the top. So the Vintage Boss Babes 1 month seller membership, it's normally $25. It's not going to be with a special offer. The shipping for resellers, normally $47. And this live sale checklist, normally $27. Okay. You're also going to receive how to succeed as a live seller in Vintage Boss Babes. It's a 35-minute training from me. Yes, I'm talking even more than I am tonight, but it's really, really helpful because it breaks down everything you need to know to host a live sale successfully. So again, that Vintage Boss Babes membership, $25, shipping for resellers, $47, promoting your live sale checklist, $27, how to succeed as a live seller in Vintage Boss Babes, $47. And if you guys have been with me, these are the actual prices because I have sold a lot of this over the years in other ways at these prices. So the value is there. You're also going to get my Dating Vintage Clothing Workshop. So if you're new to vintage or you just need to learn a little bit more, this is really helpful. You're going to understand what's 20s, what's 30s, what's 40s, get some more resources, and just really break down how to date vintage clothing for a beginner. So again, that membership, normally $25, shipping for resellers, $47, promoting live sale checklist, $27, how to succeed as a live seller training, $47, and dating vintage clothing, $47. These two are videos, by the way, and this is a video and slides, and this is a PDF. Last but not least, you're going to get the slides and the video of how to market your vintage clothing to Facebook groups. So I already drove this point home, but I just want to repeat, Vintage Boss Babes is not the end all be all. There are other buy sell groups. So what this training talks about is how to reach those other buy sell groups. Okay, just one more breakdown. You're going to get this 1 month seller membership. shipping for resellers, promoting your live sale checklist, how to succeed as a live seller, dating vintage clothing, marketing your vintage clothing to Facebook group, plus newly added here at the very bottom, you're going to get a 50-page onboarding guide to selling in vintage boss babes. Yes, I went super corporate, guys, and I created an onboarding guide so that you could look over it and have all the information you need in one place that basically spells everything from how to post items for sale, shipping, questions, how to host a live sale, how our live sales work. It's all there. It's basically an HR guide. So you guys are going to love that because that's brand new. Oh, and here it is. Here's a screenshot. Forgot I put that in. Okay, so I haven't even told you guys how much this is going to cost. You're going to think it's ridiculous because I am ridiculous, but it's because I truly want you guys to take a chance. I want you guys to take a chance on something. It's a unique boutique Facebook buy sell community. And what if all you did was invest and just get 100 times your money back in 30 days? What if that's all you did? I mean, I think that would totally be worth it, especially for the experience to learn. So join mentorsbossbabes.com. I'm about to turn it on for you guys. If you sign up in the next 72 hours, again, you can begin posting in the group and you can book, oh, that should be $35, but book a $35 30-minute live sale to start making money immediately. Okay. Join mentorsbossbabes.com. Normally, all of this added up together, all of those costs of those courses, the membership is $239. It's only $1 if you invest today. And technically today is the next 3 days. So I offer for $1 for a couple of reasons. Because I want you guys to commit in some way. I don't do free trials anymore. I used to, and I realized that free trials actually put people off the hook. And so I want you guys to commit so that you actually hold yourself accountable to using this platform and making money, because this is a platform about making money. Yes, you're going to get some great information, but that $1 can become $100, $200, $300 really, really, really quickly. One item could make that $1 into $100. What stock does that? I mean, the stock market sucks right now, but like, I think to myself, like, this is like the best stock ever. Invest $1 and probably get $100 out in 30 days. So all you guys have to do, again, and I'm so sorry I didn't turn it on. So one thing I forgot to do before this webinar is go to joinmentorsbossbabes.com. I'm going to turn it on. Literally, it is 8:18. I'm going to turn it on in like 5 minutes. Once we wrap, maybe 10. I'll say 10. I'll say 8:30 EST. You just put in your first and last name, your email address, because you do get an automatic email from me. You can do credit card, PayPal, or Google Pay. And again, you do get that email. It shows up on your credit card as Sammy Davis Vintage LLC, so you know when you were charged. And I'm going to welcome you immediately into the group tomorrow morning. So if you sign up tonight, or if you're watching the replay, shortly after I see that you've signed up, I will reach out to you to make sure that you are ready to go. So here's just a few hesitations that people have. I'm going to fly through them. A lot of people are afraid of public speaking, and they're just like, Sammy, I don't want to do a live sale. Like, I'm so nervous. But the truth is that you're talking about clothes. I like to remind people, like, you're not giving the State of the Union address. I'm not the most articulate person. I speak in a lot of slang, and you know what? People like that. People want you to be real. They're not looking for the president of the United States to be selling them vintage clothing. So I hope that helps you guys. Here's a quick example of someone that was like super nervous. And she's like, I get so nervous. And then she put a sneak peek up of her live sale, and people were wanting to buy the items from her sneak peek before she can even go live. So that was a great way of just like, okay, Nicole, you've got good inventory. Just focus on that. It's okay to be nervous, but you're going to do great. Okay. The idea of using social media for selling overwhelms me. Besides that, I hate Facebook. Okay. Yes. Been there, done that. Facebook is a little aggressive sometimes. Okay. Here's the thing. Listing on platforms is so much more overwhelming. Selling in person is so much more overwhelming. I just like to give you guys that perspective shift. if you think that talking to people on Facebook is hard, try talking to people in real life. Like small talk exhausts me. I used to run a store. I ran a vintage store for a year and a half, and I would just be exhausted at the end of the day because I was constantly trying to talk to people, trying to get them to buy stuff. And I'm like, if I have to move my mouth one more time, I'm going to fall asleep on this bus going home. It's much easier to have a social digital space than it is in real life. So that's just what I like to remind people. Okay, so again, you might not know what to source and how to price. The beauty of this community is that you're going to notice what other people are selling things for. If you're really watching the live sales, tuning into what people are posting, you're going to notice where other sellers or what price points are working for other sellers around what type of goods. Excuse me. You're also going to have immediate feedback from your customers versus hearing nothing comment-wise on other platforms. So you might get a lot of feedback for something. Maybe no one buys it. Maybe it's, I don't know, $180. Maybe you're like, all right, I'll do a price drop because I had a lot of likes on this. Like clearly someone wants it. It might just be a little too expensive and I can be flexible. That's instant feedback for you. And then again, if you sell something laser fast, okay, maybe you should have priced a little higher. Keep sourcing that style of item. So again, the most important thing is that you start selling so that you can understand what works for this platform, but then also look around you and see what's working for others and notice how people are reacting to your items within the Vintage Boss Babes community. And okay, tip number 3 is that you can actually post in the group. You can be like, hey guys, what are you looking for? What do you want me to post? You can't do that anywhere else. You can't show up to a flea market and be like, oh yeah, so tell me, because I'll go run back home and get it. You can't do that. So I just love that you can use this community to ask people, what are you looking for? I'll go source it or I'll post it if I have it. And I already mentioned this tip, see what other sellers are selling and how they're pricing. Okay. This is a big one for some people, is that like you're nervous of criticism. You're nervous. Like, let's say you've never sold anything in your life. I think everyone tuning in tonight actually is a reseller. But there's risk for that. But this is what I like to tell people. Okay. Disregard what they're saying. And also remember, you're not buying into a company. So, I've done direct sales. I had to buy into a company, buy things from another brand. You're investing in your own brand and your own time freed up. You can be as active as you want. I have suggestions, I have best practices, but you're going to represent your brand and succeed on your own terms. So don't feel like, oh my God, I'm being, I'm joining some like cults or something. No, this is for you. This is your brand. You're just utilizing the platform for your brand to succeed more. Okay, did I tell you how expensive my thrift stores are? They've gone insane. Yes, they have gone insane. But here's the thing, that's why it's more important than ever. If you want to continue as a reseller, it's more important than ever that you understand what sells and what price point to get to it. Because we do not want you running to Sally Ann and buying something for $20 times 10, and you've got $200 of inventory debt because those 10 items just aren't going to sell wherever you're trying to sell them. So that's why selling at the right party and understanding your target audience in the social selling space is really supportive when we are trying to overcome high thrift store prices. So what else do you guys need? I'm just going to remind you that you're going to get all of these bonuses plus the 50-page onboarding guide to Vintage Boss Babe Selling Success, which is so awesome. It's a $239 value. I have sold all of this at one point. So you're getting that all for just $1. Just $1 if you sign up tonight through, my goodness, 3 days from now, that's about Thursday night. I do this once every 2 months. So the next opportunity for you guys to get this deal will be in about 2 months. And I do it because I want to make sure that people that are on the fence have the chance to try as risk-free as possible. So again, what if you succeeded? Oh, I skipped. What if you succeeded? What if all of a sudden you're selling $4,000 a live sale? I mean, it blows my mind that this business of mine, which is a business, but it's a platform, we now reach about $20,000 in revenue between sellers a month. And it's just growing. Like, it's just growing. Like in 2 years, if you guys are still with Vintage Boss Babes, it could be 20,000 people and you've built a brand, or you've taken those clients elsewhere, which is totally fine. That's the point of it. The point of it is to meet your clients, to get to know them. So what if you had a success story by just signing up in the next 72 hours for $1? What if you had a success story? Like, please tell me, please share with me if you make that happen for you. Okay, so I want you guys right now, if you're tuning in, take a screenshot, or because you can't like copy and paste this because I'm actually sharing my screen, but take a screenshot or write this down right now, tinyurl.com/vintage-labels-sourcing-guide. And you guys are going to go to a landing page where you just give me your email so that then you're emailed the PDF. Always check your social or your promotions on Gmail, because it might go there. And if for some reason you can't find it, you can always email me. I'm going to email everyone tonight who signed up. We had almost 40 people sign up tonight. I'm going to email everyone the replay, as well as make sure that you guys can go to joinvintagebossbabes.com immediately and sign up. And you can always write back to that email and be like, hey, Sammy, like I couldn't get the guide. It just didn't deliver for some reason. So again, tinyurl.com/vintage-labels-sourcing-guide. And this is a really good guide. Here's my email, which again, if you guys are on the email list, which you should be, I will email you from that. But it's vintagebossbabes@gmail.com. You can always email me. And you know what? I'm just gonna quickly end on this. You know, I keep track of where I make my money, and resale is really powerful. It's kind of crazy that I had a couple of months this year where I hit almost $10,000, and it was all through the power of social selling. I did very little on platforms. I did sell a jacket on eBay for $1,200, but that's because it was like a very high SEO term. So it was actually like a Hunter S. Thompson jacket. It was like the style of jacket that he used to wear in the 1970s. He's this famous author, and I got lucky and I found it. But social selling has put thousands of dollars in my pocket. And, you know, I'm speaking from personal experience, but now there's all these other people on these platforms that are doing the same thing, and they're completely bypassing the platforms. They're completely, I say platforms, but social platforms. They're bypassing the platforms that want their money, because these platforms are like, well, I'll give you the customer. But no, we are empowering ourselves, and we're finding our own customer. We're building our own digital storefronts. And as someone who used to run a store, it sends down my spine that like, now I don't have to wait for people to come to me. I can go find them. You can go find your customer. It's so cool. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I do need to get over to my landing page maker and turn on the website. I'm so embarrassed, but I let go of the need to be perfect today. I think this is another great example of why social selling is so great, because you don't have to be perfect. You know, you just show up as you are. So I'm going to see if there's any more comments. I don't see any other comments. I just want to thank you guys. If you have any questions, I will stick on for like 2 minutes. I usually do go about 15 minutes later, but thank you guys for holding on until 8:30. So I'm just going to say thank you in the comments. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments and I will address, or you can, or I say chat. It's chat comments, or you guys can email me. So thanks, Heather. Thank you guys. So much fun. And we're like really closing out this year strong. And again, like I said, you know, this is an offer for you guys, but if you're not ready, just go on Facebook and look up these buy sell groups. Look them up. Go, seriously, life-changing. Just so much easier to sell. So much easier to sell, and you make so much more money. Heather, I don't know if I can say that out loud, but I love what you said. Awesome, Ty. This is so great. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Yay! Okay, so yes, I have to turn it on, Ty. So what I'll do is, you know what? Actually, I'm going to do it right now. You guys hang on really fast, because that way I can just make sure that you have it. I'm gonna make this really personal. So the reason it's off is because I do turn it off. So I just want to warn you guys, if you don't sign up by like Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern, it will be turned off. And that's because it's, it's a really special opportunity. So let me just get this turned on, and then you guys can go sign up when you're ready. All right, I'm almost there. So yeah, I have a live sale this weekend, and I'm so excited because I'm gonna go shopping. I have it on Sunday night, and I'm gonna go shopping on Saturday, and I know exactly what to buy because I know the audience, and I'm just so excited. It's that easy. It's like you can just go buy the day of the live sale because you basically know who you're buying for. Okay, let me see, why is this not moving? That's why, because it's the wrong link. I'm just making sure that this is live, guys. Okay, the ticker does say 0 hours, which I will change. It says 0 days, 0 hours. So I'm gonna put this in the chat just so you guys have it. I so appreciate you guys like staying with me because, so it is live. It is live now, but you're gonna notice that there's a ticker and it says that there's 0 days, 0 hours. I'm about to change that right now just so that you guys don't get confused. And so that's gonna be, today's the 26th. So basically the 29th by 8 p.m. is our last opportunity. And again, I do send out this as a replay because some of you might not have made the whole thing. And I send the slides too, so you can refer to the slides. And you're always welcome to email me and ask questions. And I really believe that resale could change your lives, even if it's just to make a couple $100 extra a month, which I don't know about you, but that always changes my life because all of a sudden I can just enjoy my life a little bit more because I have that extra income and I'm happy for it. So abundance it's important. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodnight. I so appreciate you. Please go to join.messagebosssbabes.com and join. Thank you to our replay watchers, especially if you watched all the way to the end. And I look forward to seeing you guys online. I look forward to seeing you guys at the right party, and I look forward to helping you to sell more vintage. All right, cheers for now. Bye.